G'day everyone, congratulations, you found the champ dog. So I'm re-recording this. I actually recorded some footage for what will be this video yesterday, but I had some technical issues and nothing on my mic was picked up, so they're all just silent footage of me playing games. Anyway, I had a hankering yesterday when I got home to play some Rakdos Sacrifice in Historic, so I just pulled this list off Etherhub and played a few games with it. It was really fun. So I played Rakdos Sacrifice a lot back when it was legal in Standard. Had some really some very good times and some very good memories, particularly playing in person at my local game store. Well, one match in particular, playing against Jeskai Fires, I was stuck on one land for the whole game and still got them down to one life. And if either of us had top decked differently on the final turn, I would have won the game. It was pretty epic. I had the whole game store watching because it was the last game running at the time. But anyway, Rakdos Sacrifice, I'm sure a lot of you know about this list. The basic idea is to sacrifice your own things for fun and profit. So our sacrifice engines in the deck are Witch's Oven, Priest of Forgotten Gods, and Woe Strider. So Woe Strider just lets us scry. Priest of Forgotten Gods, we can sack some creatures and force our opponent to sack, and then we draw a card, get some mana, and do a little bit of damage, so it does a lot. And Witch's Oven just lets us sacrifice something to create a food token, so there's the obvious synergy with Cauldron Familiar. You can throw it in the oven, create the food token, bring it back, and get another pin off it. We've also got Midnight Reaper to draw cards when we kill our creatures, and Mayhem Devil to get pings in whenever anything is sacrificed. And Dreadhorde Butcher here, it's just a nice aggressive 2-drop, can snowball and take over a game pretty quickly if an opponent can't answer it, but it's also a nice one sometimes to sacrifice to get some burn in, or to remove a creature, or to get the final little bit of damage that you need. Scrap Heap Scrounger, I assume is just in here because it can be recursive. As I said, this isn't my list, so I'm assuming what they're all for. And Chandra, Torch of Defiance, she does a lot. She can help you draw cards, she can do little bits of chip damage to your opponent, she can help you ramp if you need, or she can deal with some slightly larger creatures. And she also just gives the deck another angle, I guess, against control. If you manage to resolve her, she's a non-creature threat on board, so it just adds an extra little dimension there. And there's also Phyrexian Tower in the mana base, which will let us sacrifice a creature to add a bit of mana. Sideboard, we've got Thoughtseize, pretty good card, obviously. Soulguide Lantern helps us deal with other people's graveyards. Noxious Grasp is just great, because there's lots of red and green around at the moment. Abrade can help us deal with artifacts or creatures. It's a pretty neat sideboard card. I assume Witch's Vengeance is for goblins. Rankle is just pretty decent. He's good at pressuring planeswalkers. He's good at controlling the board, forcing opponents to sacrifice, and he can help with the drawing and discarding as well. So he's also really good against control. Having haste, he can come down and immediately get in for damage. Another Chandra, and I assume Bolus's Citadel is for the grindy matchups. Because you can create extra non-land permanents through Witch's Oven, creating food or stealing your opponent's creatures, stuff like that. So this is the list. It's not how I would build it, but as I said, this is something I pulled off Etherhub. I played 2 games with it yesterday and it was a lot of fun. These decks can get really degenerate and I really miss this style of gameplay. So it was a good lark, and hopefully today, refilming it, I'll have just as much fun, but let's jump in. Okay, so we're going to be on the play here against Warrior of Might. Being on the play is always good. This hand's not amazing, but I'm going to keep it. This is really good in any creature-based matchup, and this can give us 2 bodies to sacrifice to it on the 3rd turn if I need to. Obviously, you'd prefer to have like a 1-drop example. It's a little frustrating that I'm having to refilm all of this. I had just so much fun with this yesterday. I'm actually going to play out the Butcher, just get a little more aggressive. If they want to take this trade, I'm pretty happy with that. Beautiful. Just clears that off the board real nice. I had so much fun with this yesterday. I don't play a lot of historics, so sort of thumping my way through matches. I played against Drool, which is obviously pretty straightforward, so that wasn't particularly challenging. But I also came up against this weird combo deck, and just jumping into a format you don't know with a deck that you haven't built, that's like you've just found, or just thrown together, even if you haven't made it. There's something like fresh and fun in that experience that I'd wanted to capture and share with you guys. So now obviously it's not so much that, because I'm a little more familiar with the deck. Doesn't have that same freshness. Meanwhile, what is our opponent doing? Running Hallowed Priest. Weird. Okay, so our opponent's obviously in some sort of mono white life game. Don't really know how this works either, but I don't feel any need to block this. So it'd be really nice to play out the priest and start developing that, but I want to use my mana as efficiently as I can. So I'm just wondering what I want to steal here. It's probably going to be the Hallowed Priest. Yeah, so I'm a little bit bummed that, I couldn't share that initial footage with you, but we're still going to have a lot of fun. I really enjoy this deck. It gets so degenerate. Stealing this Hallowed Priest feels pretty good while they don't have enough need to protect it. There's an argument that I should have taken Daxos since it's their life gain enabler, but that was the biggest threat at the moment. I don't need an extra land right now. Like, why wouldn't you play Ajani's Pridemate instead? Maybe they're doing both. Ooh, Laris, that sucks. That is unfortunate for us. So they get another free attack with Daxos. So now I wish I'd kept that other land so I can claim Loris, play my Butcher, and still play a Priest. Obviously I need to get Loris off the board here, and I want to get as much advantage of having him as I can. Attack with everything, get aggressive here. So they can double block something to try and kill it, but then I can just sacrifice the Dreadhorde Butcher at instant speed to kill one of these things. And didn't realise this triggered off your opponent playing creatures as well. That's crazy. Crazy. Okay. So they're going to gain a little bit of life here. Kill their Soul Warden. And of course we're going to sack this Loris so they don't get it back. Scrap Heap Scrounger. No, I'm going to be playing my Priest next turn. Mayhem Devil into Priest next turn. V is looking pretty good. Ah, another Loris. See what they get back here. Okay, the Hallowed Priest. So I'm going to kill off Loris here. So next turn I'm probably going to want to cast Call of the Death Dweller, which is going to cost me 3. This, yeah, no, I don't need a land. I don't need another land right at the moment. And sack the Reaper. Opponent just keeps gaining life. You know what, actually I will keep a land. Let me play Witch's Oven. I swear to God, if they have another Loris, I'm going to be so tilted. Okay, that's fine. Man, they just keep gaining that life. Yep, take 4 here. Big token. Take 5 here, sure. What do I want to bring back here? So if I bring back the Butcher, I can give it Death Touch. I can bring back the Butcher, give it Death Touch and sack it, but I'm not sure how the triggers will stack. And if they'll be... Oh, they're tapped out, so they can't activate our seed anyway. Okay, so I'm going to do this before activating Priest. Sacrifice these two. So this is going to kill off the Priest. That's going to kill off the Seed. That's going to kill off the token. And this is going to wipe out our opponent's board. It does mean, like, this way it does let them get the maximum number of life gain triggers. Which is unfortunate. And they skip up. But we wiped their whole board, so that was pretty wonderful. Okay, so what do we want here? Noxious Grasp is pretty good. So is a Braid. Dreadhorde is not quite as good on the draw. I think I can cut the Chandras. Thoughtseize can be helpful here just to clear up any of their really strong interactions. I think a Singleton Butcher is actually probably more helpful than a Singleton Scrounger here. I'm just bringing this in as a hedge against something like Glass Casket. I don't know what this list runs. This also looks interesting, but it's likely going to be too narrow. But I guess we'll pay a little more attention to creature types in this game and see if it might be worth bringing in if there's a game 3. I mean, I like the turn 1 Thoughtseize and I like having an oven, but this hand doesn't really do much else. I mean, this isn't necessarily better, but I'm going to keep it. It's a little bit better. Obviously, we put back a Woe Strider here. So we may end up leading on Fabled Passage, depending what we draw. And then next turn could just be Thoughtseize, Witch's Oven. Yep, Johnny's Pridemate. So next turn might be our Noxious Grasp on the Pridemate. Just to stop us taking too much damage. Nah, I'm still going to go Thoughtseize. I've got an answer to the Pridemate, like I will take a little bit more damage next turn this way. Nav Daxos, well, their hand is not great. Unfortunately, it does mean they can protect the Pridemate with our seeds here, so we may just die to it. Okay, no. They tap out pretty aggressively there, that's good for us. That is good for us. So we'll kill this off while we have the chance. I shouldn't have brought in Thoughtseize in this matchup. Yeah, I don't... By the time I manage to not die here... Yeah, by the time I manage to stabilize here, this game will be over. They've just got too many of these guys out to protect their stuff. So I'm going to take Thoughtseize back out. That was a terrible idea. Another Noxious Grasp is good. I want my Butchers. And I kind of want to bring in a Rankle. Yeah, let's just try like this. Rankle can be good in these creature-based matchups to cause like my opponent to repeatedly have to sacrifice. But yeah, that was a terrible sideboard. I don't know what I was thinking. I just got run over there. I mean, obviously having this and 2 claim the firstborns is really good, so is having the Mayhem Devil, but we just have nothing to do for the first 3 turns. I don't think we can keep this. So my original plan was to play this tap and just play this on turn 2 to avoid taking damage, but this way if I do draw a 2-drop, I have mana available next turn. Offer them the trade. Don't want to take it, which makes sense because this has lifelink, they can just get that damage back. Get that life back, sorry. I'd love to draw a Witch's Oven soon. That would be pretty dope. Okay, Speaker is a genuine threat. No point attacking at the moment. But next turn we can play Rankle, attack in, and force the sack, which should be able to clear their board, depending what they play this turn. Daxos, Speaker. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. But we can get rid of the speakers at the very least. So I'm also going to discard a card. By the end of this interaction, I'll be ahead on board, and I can get this Cauldron Familiar back later. So I feel like that's the right play. Discard the cat. Sacrifice the cat. And I'll get 2 triggers because we both sacrificed and be able to kill both speakers. They'll gain a bit of life, but that's fine. Elliot, okay. Got some real lag there. My poor PC is like really struggling these days. So Helliot, obviously we can't remove it, but it's unlikely to be a problem anytime soon. We're going to attack him with both. We're just going to leave it. I'm going to use the Noxious Grasp here. I've got the Sacrifice if I need later, but I don't want to have to give up either of these if I don't have to, and right now I don't have to. Alseed, sure. So obviously there I get the ping and I can kill one of these, but I did misplay there. I should have played the other Mayhem Devil first, so I would have got 2 pings and been able to kill both of them. Doesn't matter though, they scoop it up onto game 2. So we forgot to take the play here. Now our opponent gets to decide, so they go first. Obviously this hand's unkeepable, I don't have access to any coloured mana, so I'm going to ship this back. This hand is really not a lot better, but we'll just see if we can make it work. I don't have a Sacrifice outlet for claim, so it seems like that's the sensible thing to ship. And I think I lead on Fabled Passages. I mean, this doesn't produce coloured mana unless I can sacrifice something, but also having this available is way more impactful than having the Cauldron Familiar. Is this Azorius control? So we do have to be leery that we could be censored at any point. I think I grab a mountain here because I have more black sources in the deck. Of course, if I'd grabbed a swamp, I could have played the familiar. So that's really unfortunate. So I tapped out that turn, I could have got this down and developed it. Now they can hold up a counter magic. So we are way behind at the moment. At the very least, we can't be censored here. Which is something I was very worried about. Yep, and they did have the censor. But as I said, we're just so far behind where we want to be right now. Ooh, the lag. The lag is real. Cast out sucks for us as well. So we'll play out another Butcher and Scrap Heap Scrounger. Kill off their Narset. So they've got a cast out, so they can exile one of these Butchers, which is unfortunate, it means we don't get the dice trigger. But playing out like this could also incentivize them to play a Wrath of God, if they have it. And this is why I played the Scrounger instead of the third Butcher, because I can get the Scrounger back. Oh, main deck Graph Digger's Cage. Punished. Punished. Okay, I just wasn't paying attention to it. I keep forgetting this doesn't actually produce black mana. I should have just played the Blood Crypt. Yeah, look, I'm just gonna get out of here. Like, we needed to play really optimally to work around the Graph Digger's Cage there, and we did not do that. So... so Thoughtseize is good here. Noxious Grasp is probably good here. Chandra is good, as I said, just adds that extra dimension. Rankle can also be good against control decks. As can the Citadel. Claim the Firstborn, not very good here, doesn't really have targets. What else do I cut? 6 more cuts. Oh gosh. Maybe I don't bring in Rankle here. But he's so good against Planeswalkers. Priest actually is not great here, because again, no creatures. What was that sound? Okay, yep, just external hard drive issue, that's fine. So what else do I want to cut here? Maybe I cut Call of the Death Dweller. And a single Waste, but Waste Ride is recursive. Okay, let's just try like this. Obviously I need to bring in a Brains to deal with Graph Digger's Cage. Zorius Control. Okay, this hand's obviously awful. This is not much better, but we are going to keep it. We'll put back a Chandra. I'm not mulling down to 5 against a control deck. It's just unfortunate this hand gives them all the time in the world to set up. So not finding a third land really hurts us, but getting Witch's Oven down is pretty good. So I can't use the Cat Loop at the moment because of Graph Digger's Cage. I do need to find an Abrade. That's pretty good tech against Cauldron Familiar as well. And obviously I can't deal with enchantments at all, so our opponent has also missed a land drop. Ooh. They must have greed capped. Why would you keep a 2-land hand in a control deck? See what they target here. Probably the Reaper. So we'll throw that in the oven. Draw a card. That's a pretty nice card to draw as well. So I really want to get this Dreadhorde Butcher down. But getting Chandra down is also a pretty big game. The full art's pretty dope. So we obviously tick up. I can't use the mana.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
I can't play that. So I just do some damage to them. Hopefully their mana issues continue. We'll be able to get down the Dreadhorde Butcher next turn, because that'll be a pretty big game. But I feel like Chandra is the better one to go for there, both because it uses my mana more efficiently, and also it's a little harder for them to deal with. So first things first, we'll tick up.
Oh, today's my lucky day.
Yep, and we will attempt to cast that. And we'll attempt to cast this as well. So we'll see what they're targeting here. The flash ability is pretty nice on that. We'll just play this for land at the moment. We can see an extra card with Chandra, which is nice. Wrath of God, yep, that's fine. So I can't use this ability. I can sacrifice the food here, but I can't actually get the cat back.
This'll be easy.
Get down a low strider. So they're going to gain 2 life here, which sucks, but you know, them's the breaks. Next turn we can ultimate our Chandra, if they don't find an answer for it, which is a pretty big game. Yeah, this is just collection of permanents. Say they finally found their 5th land, Teferi, so I assume Teferi will tarp Chandra here. Kinda has to.
This isn't a fight you can win.
And then we will kill off Teferi while they're tapped out. It's unfortunate that got tucked. That emblem would have been pretty much game over, obviously. I am going to take the Scry here. I can't really do anything else with this goat right now. Glad I did. I don't really want to brick on a draw here. Okay, that's beautiful. So we get rid of Grafdigger's Cage here. Oh, wrong mode. Destroy target artifact, get rid of Grafdigger's Cage. Yep. So they gain a life, which is fine. Exile the Butcher, and they're going to gain another life. Unfortunate, but what do you do? At least when the cat came in, they also lost a life, so that was a neutral transaction. Ooh, bottomed another graph digger, so they must have one in hand, right? Nice it. Sure.
Those who cannot perceive beyond the veil of reality meditate and
They have to have one in hand to throw one away like that. Or maybe they just really needed the land, I guess. Okay, so they have the Wrath. That's pretty good. I should have known that was there if I'd been paying attention. So we'll just bring this back for now. We gain a life. That's all that does. It doesn't actually reduce my opponent's life total any. So they know we have Nishandra as well, so there's no point playing it right now. I'm sure they've kept up counter magic, so they can Wrath here, which is fine. We are going to get some value anyway. Okay, see what they target here. So, in response, I'm going to sack the Familiar to the Strider to get a Scribe. Another Oven's good. And then throw the Strider in the oven. So I can now bring the cat back at the end of turn. Okay, so they haven't played their Wrath of God. They're obviously trying to play around the Chandra at the moment. Can't quite bring back Low Strider. I wonder if this will work. We're going to do this for science, because obviously they're going to... Just depends how the triggers stack. So I know this is silly, everyone watching at home, I'm just really curious how this plays out. Okay, they gain the life first. Cool. Nothing really lost other than I can't make 2 food tokens if they play Wrath next turn. Which, you know, it is a bad play. I've denied myself some value, which is really important in these kind of matchups, but I did that intentionally and knowingly because I wanted to see how that would play out. Shark Typhoon doesn't really matter at the moment. Bane Slayer, yeah, potentially a problem. But they also know or should know I have this Chandra in my hand and can just kill them with it. Yeah.
I know. I am hot, aren't I?
Yeah, I think I just keep this configuration. Obviously, it's going to be a lot harder on the draw, but we did have a pretty bad opening hand that game, so hopefully we get a good hand and we can put a bit of pressure on them early. And hopefully they don't have a Graph Diggers in their opening hand again. Yeah, so yesterday I played a game against Gruul, which was just like, oh my god, it was such a beating for the Gruul player. It felt so good. And then this weird, like, Emery self-mill combo thing where I could still just steal all their combo creatures. A lot of their pieces were creatures with that energy mill situation. It was just so degenerate. Whereas this game has obviously been like quite grindy and thought out. And the even the white weenie one, like I had to, it just didn't feel quite as fun. You know, I'm a little sad that you missed that joy. The art on this is weird. I am going to keep this. Best draw for me would be a swamp, so I can turn 1 Thoughtseize into turn 2 Butcher. Not to be. So I need to play this and crack this for a Swampy boy. So I can play the Dreadhorde Butcher, but there's a high chance they have some sort of exile-based way to deal with it in their hand here. They don't. I should have just played it. Either way, I'm going to take an Absorb. And knowing that they will have Absorb up next turn, I think I play the Oven now. I should have just played it. It would have like snowballed the whole game. Oh yes! Oh, they tap out. Fool. We do have to be wary of the Typhoon off the Shark Typhoon. The token off the Shark Typhoon. So one way we can get around that is play something that they feel they have to counter, so that they don't have mana open to make a token. Obviously Chandra is much better bait, but I would also really like her to resolve. And it's like the two sides of the same coin. She's much better bait because she's a much better card to resolve. Yeah. But the Midnight Reaper also just means I'm drawing a card each turn for free off my call. So they're both problematic. But at least now we know we've got the counter spell out of their hand. And if they tap out to play anything this turn, we should be able to resolve Chandra next turn. So I'm going to move to combat, see if they make the Shark token. They do, beautiful, can't resist. I'm just leery that this last hand in their card could be a counter spell because they have been fixing their draws with Azcanta. Still get 3 to the dome here. Play out Chandra, tick her up.
You and I are gonna take him out. Yup, you're going down.
I mean, I have enough lands. I'd rather just attack their life total at the moment. And getting this Mayhem Devil to stick will also be a very big deal next turn. If we can. Cast out, okay.
I am out of here.
That's good for us. So they felt like they had to answer the Chandra. Sack it again. So we're just really hoping this isn't a creature counter spell. And if they can't answer this board state, they're dead next turn. Grafdigger's Cage. Okay, so in response, they're going to do this cycle. So this does leave us vulnerable to a Wrath of God, but the Grafdigger's Cage does that anyway. Or any sort of targeted exile effect, like another cast out or a baffling end, any of that means we can't sacrifice something in response. But, you know, just is what it is. Okay, so... they're pretty much dead here. Yep, create a token. And then I can just ping them to death. Good game. Alright. Grinding out control decks. So that's 4 games in a row I've won with this deck. 100% win rate so far. Such a good deck. I miss this deck. I do miss it. So there we have it, guys. That was the deck. Didn't have quite as much fun as I did yesterday, but it's still fun. I really like this deck. I miss playing with it. I have some really fun memories of it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Obviously, I made some mistakes there, but I still managed to get both of the wins. As I said, this isn't necessarily how I would build this deck. Like, there are a few little things I've changed. Scrap Paper Scrounge is cool, but it's not something I would have included, mainly because I'm not familiar with the historic card pool. I'm not saying it shouldn't be here, it's a bad card, but it's not something I would have thought of. Similarly, Chandra, if you adjust your cards a little bit, you can have Gigantha as a companion, which I think is... So Chandra is really, really strong, and I don't know that one is necessarily better than the other, but having a guaranteed 8th card every game is also pretty strong. Also, even against control decks where, like, a lot of the time they're trying to win on card advantage anyway. But you saw in that game against Azorius Control, like, this hit the board, it was difficult for them to answer, and I threatened the emblem really quickly, and they had to spend a whole turn answering it with Teferi. So it is really good against those sorts of decks. So I guess depending how much of that you're expecting to see, this probably is a little bit stronger if you can resolve it in those matchups. The flip side of that is, if you can't resolve it, you're down a card on what you would be if you had Gigantha. I would consider maybe having like something like Croxer in the sideboard. but maybe Village Right somewhere. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at what other people are playing. I don't know that Bolus's Citadel really belongs in this list. I can understand why it's in there, but it's not something I would play with. This isn't like Rakdos Sacrifice where you're like making mountains of food. I liked Rankle. I'm not sure about Witch's Vengeance. Obviously it's good against goblins, but it really depends how much goblins you're playing against, and it doesn't kill Muxus. Mind you, if they play out a Muxus like that, you're in trouble anyway. I don't know that Witch's Vengeance will save you. Yeah, there are a few things I'd change. I'd like to have a little more disruption as well, like just me personally. But yeah, I really like this deck. I'd probably tweak the mana base a little bit too. I don't really like Phyrexian Tower. I think Bajuka Bog would actually be better. You know, and maybe tweak the Fabled Passages. Obviously, like it's like a free trigger with Mayhem Devil, but you're playing a pretty aggressive deck, and sometimes like having like tapped lands could be really brutal. I'd also like to see maybe another like 1-drop. But as I said, I'd really need to see what other people are playing in Historic. It's not a format I'm familiar with. But yeah, I've been loving this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I know sometimes this deck can get a little tedious with all the triggers and clicking through, etc. But I really enjoy playing it. You know, and there are times that I've just wanted to like dip my feet into Historic, so it's nice to have something in my back pocket that I can just jump into. I will be probably playing a little bit more of this, tweaking a few things here and there. But yeah, I just thought it'd be a nice little break. As I said, the idea just came to me yesterday. I just really felt like playing some Historic and playing this after watching a Croaky's video on YouTube where he was playing Rakdos. Yeah, so I just scratched that itch and thought I'd share it with you guys. So thanks for tuning in, either way. And a shout out to our new subscriber. I see you there. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but I think it's Sin. I see you there subscribing. I thank you, and I appreciate the sub. Everyone else, if you've watched this far, congratulations. You're all pretty dope. But yeah, hit me up in the comments if you have any suggestions, you know, that I could change, ways I could change this deck, things that I could have played differently, decks and other stuff that you'd like to see. I do make an effort to respond to you when you guys leave messages, so please do sound off in the comments. Like the video if you haven't already, and if you do enjoy my content and aren't subscribed already, please do so. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay kind, be nice to each other, be brilliant.